Okay, how was my sound? Sounds good. Awesome. Let's do this. I'm Chronix for most extreme wrestling, and this is your AEW Dynamite review. One. This took place live July 14th, 2021 in Austin, Texas. Back on the road, rolling through Texas. It was in Cedar Park. My goodness, it's essentially North Austin. JR, Tony Schiavone, and Excalibur, all on commentary. The fans are there. They're in large numbers as they chant AEW. We're going to kick off tonight the opening match with the IWGP United States Championship. Jon Moxley, the champion, putting his championship on the line against Carl Anderson. Now, Jon Moxley has got Eddie Kingston on his side, their ringside, and Carl Anderson, of course, has Doc Gallows. But before the match even begins, Eddie Kingston and Doc Gallows get into a tussle and wrestle on through the back, and, well, they essentially disappear. And Moxley goes after Anderson in the ring to jumpstart this match. This is taking place with Japanese rules, Japan rules. So you got a 20 count instead of a 10 count. Ooh, things are different, right? But regardless, the fans were super into just seeing Jon Moxley, it seems. They were going wild for all the melee. But once they start fighting near the ramp, it kind of quiets down. So I don't know if that's like the arena miking. They've been doing the sound sweetening, more and more. But it just went dead silent. I'm like, well, what happened? But they were able to get the fans back into this thing, of course. And Jon Moxley, when he gets that paradigm shift is over, that's exactly what happened. Jon Moxley retains his IWGP Championship. So, hey, you got to kick this thing off. You got to kick it off right. Am I right? Yes. I actually started this review later, and I was going to say this at the beginning, because the International Space Station was flying over. And it was going to fly over at 9:15 my time. So I was like, I got to check this out. And I was actually able to see it. So I was very excited about that. Space is awesome. But let me leave no space for this next segment. Lance Archer, he is in the ring truck. It's not lit up with the fancy colors. It's more of a drab feeling, right? He's in the back of the ring truck talking about he wants a rematch. And he wants to face Jon Moxley, Fyter Fest Night 2. In Dallas, Texas, or not Dallas, but Garland. But they're calling it Dallas, but they don't call Cedar Park Austin. I don't understand. I don't know what the reasoning. Do they have some kind of contract with the building? You must call it Cedar Park. My goodness, this is the HEB Center. This is where you get your groceries when you're in Texas. This is the rules, all right? Okay, so he wants to have this match, this Texas death match, in Texas, so of course that's going to be wild. That's going to be crazy. I don't know what they're going to do, because look, we'll be having regular episodes of Dynamite, and they'll be bringing out thumbtacks and barbed wire and whatever, right? Tables galore. Hey, but now next week they're going to be having a Texas death match. So I presume with Jon Moxley involved, with this man right here involved, with Lance Archer, it's going to be wild, and I'm looking forward to seeing the mayhem and the chaos. Now we got young Alex with a fedora on interviewing Andrade. And what does Andrade want? Well, he's got subtitles on the screen, which, thanks, I guess. It's just kind of odd seeing subtitles when I guess he's speaking in English partially and then speaking in Spanish. So unless you're bilingual in that way, then, hey, it helps. But it's always interesting because it's not something, coming from me, being somebody who's been a WWE fan for pretty much their whole life, it's not something you are used to seeing, right? But, hey, whatever you got to do. He is looking for the Death Triangle, and I just instantly got excited. I was like, see, that seems a lot more interesting than what they've been doing with him recently. I'm just looking for a good feud for this guy, and you want to throw in the Death Triangle? I'm interested now. I want to know. I want to see what's going to happen, which member exactly he's going to be going after. He's going to go after all of them? I don't know. But regardless, I'm looking forward to it. But what you got to look forward to right now is the Ftw Championship. It's on the line. It's not officially recognized by the company yet. We're going to defend it. It's going to be right here. And the whole point of this thing, or at least from what Taz has told us previously, this is what is going to fix the cracks in the foundation of Team Taz. By having Brian Cage going against a, recovered from injury, Ricky Starks. This is what Taz believes. These two guys fighting is going to fix everything, and they're just going to be fine, and they're just going to move on, supposedly. Well, Taz is on commentary, and Hook and Hobbs, they are ringside. They didn't come out with anybody, so it kind of gives us the idea that they're not necessarily on anyone's side. They are literally ringside. And Brian Cage versus Ricky Starks. Now, Ricky Starks, I liked his gear. He was looking nice, had some new-looking stuff. Brian Cage, looking fantastic. The crowd is ecstatic. They are ready. They want to see this thing. And, Ricky Starks, he's kind of circling around Cage at the beginning. He's like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this thing. But he gets in this. The crowd is super into it. Cage, he comes in with the fist. He botches the first move, and I'm like, oh, Lord. Oh, no. But things pick up from there. Of course, the crowd's just going crazy. This is an awesome chance to come back from the break. Ricky is able to hit a powerbomb on Brian Cage out of the corner. That is devastating, but only for two. It's a kick out. Ricky Starks goes for the FTW Championship. He's going to cheat? How dare he? I can't believe he would attempt such malarkey like this. But he, in fact, tried. However, Hobbs on the outside, wearing a white T-shirt and, overalls, and he had, one... I don't know, it was a weird look, but it fit. Like him and Hook, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with those guys. However, Hobbs doesn't let him have the championship, so perhaps they're not on Ricky Stark's side. What is going on here? But inside of the ring, you got Ricky. He is stunned, and Hook distracts the referee. Hobbs comes in the ring with the FTW Championship and uses it on Brian Cage. So, my goodness, they were all in cahoots all along and going after Brian Cage. Ricky Starks pins him and becomes the new FTW Champion. I didn't see that coming. I was not expecting Ricky Starks to gain the FTW Championship. I imagine that Brian Cage is going to be very upset, very angry, and going to want to rip Ricky Starks apart. But the rest of Team Taz, they celebrate. They're excited. Taz comes down. They hug. They're just loving it. So Brian Cage just left out to dry, just left out on his own. It seems like to me that he is done with Team Taz. But I don't think he might be done with them as a group, but he's not done with them, if you know what I'm saying. He's going to want some retribution because he just got wronged. And they took away his championship, and it fit his gear perfectly. He was wearing all this orange. But if he's ousted from Team Taz, will he not be allowed to wear those orange colors again? I wouldn't think that he would even want to. But at this point, I cannot see a path for Brian Cage to get back into that group, or why would he even want to? Because the Path of Rage from Taz and his team have kind of ousted him on out of there. So hopefully this will lead to a Brian Cage, eventually, like a Brian Cage and Hobbs type match. I would be 100% on board with that. I think that'd be pretty cool. But we shall see. All right, so Malachi Black, he debuted last week. We didn't know what to call him. They figured it out. His name's Malachi Black. But, they do a little bit of that recap. And Excalibur even calls it a cheap shot on Arn Anderson and Cody. So I'm like, it's funny. At this point, at this very moment, up to this moment, I'm thinking, how are they going to get people to boo Malachi Black? I mean, Cody's the good goody two shoes. He's the baby. Everybody loves Cody Rhodes. My goodness, Cody's just perfect, right? And they kicked Arn Anderson, so like you should hate Malachi Black. But it's like, well, Malachi Black just surprisingly debuted. Why would anybody be against him? Why would anybody hate him? People universally love Aleister Black or Malachi Black, and they want to see him do big things that he didn't get to do in WWE. So, of course, people are super excited about him. So I was, up to this point, thinking to myself, how are they going to make Malachi Black, like, dislikable? How are they going to make him unlikable? Well, I think our answer is coming. They're not. They're just going to both be good guys? Perhaps? All right, so check this out. He did those kicks last week. Do the recap. Cody, he's just like, man, forget this freaking recap, dude. I'm not even going to finish it. I'm angry. He comes out of there, just channeling his inner, father, right? And gets on the headset, and he's just cutting the promo, right? Talking about this. You kicked a 62-year-old man, and you don't do it like this. If you wanted to have a match with me, you just don't do it like this. And then Cody's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm only talking to the people watching at home. Let me get a live microphone and tell this live crowd here in Austin, Texas. And he tells Malachi to come on down, right? We see Malachi. He's in a room full of smoke, and I mean, that thing is puffing. It's like Rob Van Dam was hanging out with him. I don't know, man. It was just large puffs of smoke, distracting puffs of smoke. I've never been distracted by a puff of smoke like this, but I was. It was like the light bouncing off of it or something, right? And Malachi Black tells a story about a man who had this prized horse, and he went around the world, he was famous, whatever, he did all this stuff, but then he looked in that horse's eye one day and realized that it was past his prime, and he was beaten down, and he had to shoot and get rid of that horse. He had to do it. And he essentially looked at Arn Anderson and Cody Rhodes the same way. Is Cody past his prime? Is that what he's saying? I like the promo, but at the same time, I was thinking, Cody is really on the top of his game. We probably haven't even seen the best of Cody yet. Seriously. We haven't seen the best of Cody. We haven't seen his best matches yet. We've seen some great matches, sure, but we haven't seen his top-tier stuff yet. He's got so many years. Come on. Regardless, I was into it. The crowd was even more into it. They were freaking going nuts. I shouldn't be surprised that people love Malachi Black so much, but I'm a little surprised that people are so excited to see him go against Cody as his first feud. That's all I'm saying. But regardless of this, Cody wants him now. He wants him to come on down there, and Malachi says, I was hoping you would ask that. The lights go out, and then boom, Malachi Black is in the ring. And it's funny because Cody, he's in all white. He's in an all-white suit. Malachi Black is in all black, and, contrasting. Hey, makes sense. I like it. They start fighting, but the referees run down to break this thing up, and they hold these guys apart. So, I guess technically it worked. The fans were into it. I was skeptical of how they were going to be able to get people invested into this. But, as this develops, I'm going to be very interested to see how they do it. For a feud that I didn't really want to see, I'm sure they'll have a good match and everything, but we'll see how they build this thing up, how this progresses. Yeah, but I'm excited to see it. Malachi Black in AEW, I'm all for it. I don't even care. Ex-WWE people, why they got so many ex-WWE people? Man, forget that, dude. Aleister, Malachi Black, he's awesome. Let him shine here in AEW. Come on now. Shine through the darkness. We got old Alex interviewing Tully. And AEW loves doing these segments where they start to interview someone and they don't even get one word out until somebody else interrupts. Surprise is Proud and Powerful. They're over there by that ring truck. It's one of their favorite filming locations here in AEW. And they pretend like they're going to hit Tully with a tire iron, but it was a fake tire iron. They give him the tire iron after holding him back and shoving him to the ground, and Proud and Powerful, they leave, and Tully after, I guess, waiting until they're out of earshot, says, "You just wait." So, yeah, that's going to happen. FTR, they're going to do something at some point, right? We'll see. All right, Hangman Adam Page, he's being interviewed by Tony in the ring. Look, we're in Texas. You got a cowboy gimmick, so of course people are going to be tripping out. They're going to be going crazy. They would have been going crazy in any town, but I'm just saying, in Texas, there's a little extra oomph behind it, I believe, here. Now, Page, he speaks out about wanting to be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and Page starts to lay down that challenge, but Don Callis, he's like, no, let me interrupt you here. And the Elite are trailing behind him, looking like some, I don't even know how to describe the outfits they were wearing. They look like 10-year-old meme lords. It was weird. But, yeah, Matt Jackson, one of the half of the tag team champions over here, he gets in the ring, and, yeah, he says that Page left the Bucks and the boys, the Elite guys, and now he's a lonely drunk. He can smell the whiskey on his breath, and Adam Page is going to be wrestling's next big tragedy. He's going to be on the dark side of the ring at the point. And I'm like, man, do not put this on this man. Don't do this. But Omega, he's got the championship. He's got it loaded in his hands. He's sneaking up in the ring, and he's going to attack. But the Dark Order break this up before it can happen. The fans chant AEW. Omega says that he wants Elite versus the Dark Order, a 5-on-5 elimination style match. And I'm like, you know, in AEW, it's like these guys have all these matches just like ready to go loaded in their head. Hey, man, I want to have a 5-on-5 elimination style tag team match. It's like, golly, y'all just have stipulations just ready to go, just pulling them out of each and every pocket. What is going on here? But Adam Page says that's not the match that he wanted, but he'll do it. Pretty much if he can get his championship match, and if they win this 5-on-5 match they're talking about, the Dark Order will be able to get a tag team championship title opportunity in the future. So let it happen, right? Omega, he tries to rattle Page, reminding him that, Page, you're afraid to fail. That's what it is. You're afraid to fail. And Page says, yeah, that the Dark Order does not back down from a fight. So is this Adam Page actually acknowledging that he's 100% down with the Dark Order? It seems like that. I don't know how I feel about the whole Adam Page is afraid to fail thing. I think that's a little but that's what they're going with, and it seems to be working, so we'll roll with it. Something that I don't necessarily think is working is old Alex Marvez interviewing Chris Jericho about the 5 labors of Jericho. I just think that the amount of stipulations and stuff that he's got to do all these things to face him, and oh my gosh, it's like, it's a bit much, right? But we don't get to hear too much about Jericho giving us history lessons and giving us catchphrases that he's hoping that he can print on T-shirts. Sean Spears, the chairman, comes in with MJF, busts through the door with the chair, interrupting this interview. Man, to be an interviewer in AEW, you got to watch out because you never know. Things are going to be happening. Chairs swinging, people attacking. It's happening all over the place. In the ring, backstage, in the ring truck, watch out. Any wall that you find in the back with these lights in the background, you could be the victim of an attack. So you better keep your guard up, is all I'm saying. Or maybe, just maybe, MJF, or Jericho, rather, in all the groups that he's been in, if he would just lock his door, he would have avoided so many things. He would have avoided his locker room getting destroyed. He would have avoided this confrontation right here, getting busted with a chair, and even Sean Spears hits him right in his previously injured arm, presumably going to re-injure it again with the chair, just leaving him all hurt. Poor Jericho. Now we got Matt Hardy. He's got his little group up on the stage, but they don't come down to the ring. Matt Hardy's taking on Christian Cage. This is a match that I just didn't care to see, but I like Christian Cage, and I wanted to see him wrestle, so here we go. Look, Hardy, he drops Cage on the stair or on the apron and like part of the stairs. That looked like it hurt. Christian Cage is able to hit his 5-star frog splash for a 2. A superplexy Christian on the top of Kill Switz. No, Hardy low blows where the referee can't see. Hardy locks on the leech submission on the outside. Christian almost gets counted out, but he's back in the ring by 9, hits the kill switch engage, and Christian wins. I thought this ending, like this finish, was kind of weird, random, but Christian won, so I'm excited about that. It was an all right match, but it felt out of place in AEW. It just does. And after this, the Hardy guys try to come down and attack Christian. However, Jurassic Stress is going to stop that from happening, so it's good to have allies and friends on your side. Miro is telling us a story about himself wanting the belt, beating people, becoming God's favorite champion, and Miro, he's the redeemer in all this. He had a white strap version of his TNT Championship. It had green on it. Okay, I guess, represent where you come from. All right. I don't know, man. It just random. It just felt random. As somebody who didn't really like the TNT Championship design at the beginning, I've become so accustomed to it. Now seeing it with the white strap, I'm like, it differentiates it from the IWGP United States Championship, but I mean, they're not going to have Jon Moxley's other championship on here like every week, are they? I guess that's just what he wanted, but the green and the white, it's just not a huge fan of it. Tony is in the ring. Next week, we're going to be in Dallas Fyter Fest Night 2. He introduces his good friend, sometimes, Brit Baker, DMD. Tony inquires about Brit Baker going through a table last week, and she's like, I'm all right. And she has no fear. She speaks on Nyla Rose being at the top of the food chain, but Brit Baker is off the menu. Vicky is in the back watching this screen, and she's very mad and high-pitched. Nyla speaks and says she's going to dish out a world-class, wink, they're going to be in Dallas, ass-beating at Dallas, at the Big D in Garland, Texas, all right, So that's cool. I'm excited about that match. I'm really actually looking forward to that. It's making me wish that I actually went to Dallas, or am going to go. I didn't get a ticket. It's like a 4-hour drive, so... I'm going to watch it on television, however, and it's shaping up to be a really good show. Jon Moxley's getting a promo. He's all sweaty. He's out of breath, and Jon Moxley accepts the Texas death match. And by the way, as somebody who went to the first show in Garland, Texas, like in 2019, whenever that was, I remember the ticket sales, and they have sold way more tickets this year than they did the first time they went. So that's a great sign for AEW being able to sell more tickets. Fantastic. Like, I'm happy for them. Especially at this time, people want to get out, they want to do things, and they want to see some good action. They're going to see a whole lot of stuff in Dallas next week. Now we got Sammy Guevara with big pops, people loving him. Sammy Chance during his entrance taking on Wheeler Yuta. I have no idea who that is. Am I supposed to know who Wheeler Yuta is? Maybe it doesn't matter because a high energy, a put over match here for Sammy Guevara, basically a match for him to win. After the match, he gives a dorky thumbs up to Wheeler. Like, is he trying to be ironic or funny? I don't even know, man, but that's what he did. Speaking of corny, QT Marshall, he's being interviewed by Tony Schiavone. This is an earlier today type promo, and QT ends up pouring a drink on Tony Schiavone's head. I literally was wondering why Tony Schiavone's jeans looked so not good. Now it makes sense. He got like a chocolate drink poured on his head and messing up all of his... I don't think he was wearing his glasses either, was he? He didn't even want to get his glasses messed up. What is up with that? All right, Penelope Ford, looking great in her orange and black. She's got like dyed white hair. She's kind of updated her look a little bit, taking on Yuka Sakazaki. Man, it's hard for me to say these names. I went to practice. A pretty quick match, regardless. And Magic Girl Splash and Yuka Sakazaki wins. I was surprised. I thought Penelope Ford was going to get a victory, but it didn't happen. So sucks to suck. All right, it's the main event. It's a coffin match. It's Ethan Page, all ego, versus Darby Allin. You would think Darby Allin has the upper hand, has the advantage, because, well, he does the coffin drop. It's his gimmick, and it's a coffin match. And it's the main event. Very much looking forward to this one. And, Darby begins with a steel plate on his back, so it's kind of like a page out of Bret Hart's book. Man, Bret Hart has a long book. I haven't even finished that book. That thing is thick. Talking about a thick book. I really need to get on that. Regardless, he's got it. It's on his back, though. It's not on his front. The whole Goldberg thing. So, regardless, let's get back to this match. So Scorpio Sky, he's hiding in the coffin. Because you got to hide in the coffin. It's hilarious. Like, I literally just watched the WWE recap or whatever it is, documentary on Randy Orton and The Undertaker, which is great feud, right? And I was like, oh, I just watched that. And they just did a thing where a guy was in the coffin and he comes out. So that was funny. But not funny in the hilarious way, but funny, right? All right, so check this out. So Darby, during the break, he's jumping off of what do you call those things? He's like, it's an entranceway, so you're like 15 feet in the air, and you jump off of it. You know, Jeff Hardy did this, Royal Rumble 2000. I don't know what those things are called, but he jumped off of it during the break, so they had to show like the replay. I always find it weird when they do huge spots like this during a break, but, maybe they just needed time to recover, and they didn't want to show that on live TV. I don't know what the reasoning for that was, but regardless, the turnbuckle, the bottom rope, it gets unhooked, and they've got the stairs in the ring. And keep in mind, the top of the stairs, like in WWE, they're more covered, right? For whatever reason, in AEW on this one, it was more like cut out, so there's like a big open spot, and I thought that was odd and looked dangerous. Regardless, it's there in the ring hanging out, and Darby uses that hook on Page's mouth. Gotta, hook him up in there like a fish. Yeah. Both men, they're fighting in the coffin. They got black roses inside of the coffin. This thing is looking like some balsa wood. Looks like the inside of like a model airplane that you would use the RC things on. It's looking like it could be easily destroyed. I was like, if you got buried in this thing and they throw one shovel of dirt on you, the thing is going to collapse just like that. That's what I was worried about. I was thinking this thing is going to break with them fighting inside of it, but apparently it had a solid bottom. You need solid bottom sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Good old thick, strong bottom. So, yeah, I get that this is this huge main event, but my friends, it's not even over because Darby Allin goes to the top rope and coffin drops the freaking coffin with Ethan Page inside, all ego inside there as well. And that balsa wood coffin gets completely decimated and destroyed. This episode, of Dynamite, it was crazy. It was action-packed. I really enjoyed the coffin match. It was a good episode. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next week in Dallas Fyter Fest Night 2. It's going to be happening. But you know what's going to be happening tomorrow? YWF. The YouTube Wrestling Federation, going to be dropping a new episode of YWF Mayhem tomorrow. That's coming out on the YouTube page tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and 4 p.m. Pacific. You can check that out at youtube.com/YouTube Wrestling Federation. You can check out the facebook.com/YouTube Wrestling Federation. You can check me out on Twitter at MXW Chronics. I got a Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/donut_space. All of those links and more are in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.